On the night of June 5, 1945, a man who had burned children alive lay on a wooden bunk in a prison cell, wearing civilian clothes and a false name, believing, just for a moment, that he had escaped history. He hadn't. Because as boots echoed down the corridor, he did not know the men approaching his cell remembered Warsaw, remembered Belarus, remembered the screams. And here is the question that changes everything. How did a man so violent that even the SS complained get protected, promoted, and unleashed again and again until tens of thousands were dead? Tonight, we uncover the story Nazi Germany never wanted examined. Even the SS complained, and that should stop you cold. The man on that bunk is 49 years old, thin and scarred, his body marked by 12 combat wounds earned across 3 decades of war, the Western Front, street fighting in post-war Germany, Spain, and 4 brutal years on the Eastern Front. His name Oskar Dirlewanger, a man who 3 weeks earlier had been an SS Oberfuhrer commanding thousands, and who now pretended to be nobody at all. A former Jewish prisoner recognizes him, and in that instant his fate is sealed. What happens next will never be written cleanly in any official record, because the French death certificate will later claim natural causes, while witnesses will say something else entirely. Justice does not always arrive in robes, sometimes it comes wearing Polish boots. Here is something most people do not know. The Nazi system did not merely tolerate Oskar Dirlewanger, it complained about him, repeatedly. In August 1942, SS Judge Konrad Morgan submits a report directly to Heinrich Himmler after investigating corruption and unauthorized killings, and what he finds in occupied Belarus disturbs even him. He describes a unit committing atrocities far beyond any military necessity, a commander he calls mentally unstable, soldiers who loot, rape, and murder without discipline or restraint. Morgan recommends 2 things: dissolve the unit and court-martial its commander. Himmler ignores every word. When even the SS says, "This is too much," pay attention. The complaints keep coming. SS leaders in occupied Poland file formal protests. Friedrich Wilhelm Krüger, the top SS and police leader, calls Dirlewanger's men throat-cutting madmen and threatens to arrest them himself. So what happens next is not punishment, not removal, not justice. They are transferred to Belarus, somewhere with fewer witnesses. This becomes the pattern. Every time Dirlewanger becomes inconvenient, he is not stopped, he is moved. Oskar Dirlewanger was not born a monster, and that is what makes this more unsettling. He was born in 1895 in Würzburg, Bavaria, the son of a lawyer, educated, disciplined, apparently destined for a respectable life until the First World War intervened. In 1914 he enlisted as a machine gunner, fighting in Belgium and France, wounded 6 times, declared 40% disabled, yet returning to combat again and again. By 1918 he was a decorated lieutenant with Iron Crosses, but something inside him never came home from the trenches. After the war he drinks constantly, fights obsessively, and erupts without warning. He joins right-wing paramilitaries, engages in street violence, is shot in the head in 1921 and survives. Between outbreaks of brutality he earns a doctorate in political science, joins the Nazi Party, drifts between jobs, and then in 1934 everything collapses when he is arrested for a sexual crime against a minor and for drunken theft. He is convicted, stripped of his doctorate, expelled from the party, imprisoned, and sent to a concentration camp. For most men this would have been the end. It was not for him, because he had powerful friends. Gottlieb Berger, head of SS recruitment, intervenes, erases records, and sends Dirlewanger to fight in Spain with the Condor Legion. He returns wounded again, his party membership restored, his doctorate reinstated, his past erased. On September 1, 1939, Germany invades Poland, and Dirlewanger is given exactly what he wants: command. Berger presents Himmler with an idea: Germany needs troops for anti-partisan warfare, so why not use convicted criminals? Himmler agrees. The unit begins with poachers, then thieves, then rapists, then murderers. They wear SS uniforms but are considered expendable, sent where no one else will go. Their first assignment is guarding the Lublin ghetto, and within weeks reports flood Berlin describing robbery, rape, and murder, not of partisans, but of civilians, Jewish women assaulted, children beaten, bodies left in the streets. Even the SS complains again. In early 1942, the unit is transferred to Belarus under the pretense of anti-partisan warfare, but in reality it becomes extermination without oversight. When Dirlewanger's men enter a village, they do not search for fighters. They surround it, drive men, women, children, and the elderly into barns or churches, bar the doors, pile straw against the walls, and set everything on fire. Anyone who escapes is machine-gunned, anyone who survives is bayoneted, and in some villages there are no survivors at all. Witnesses later describe bodies fed to pigs, women kept as sexual property, children killed for amusement, and Dirlewanger himself injecting prisoners with poison and watching them convulse. Between 1942 and 1944, at least 30,000 civilians are murdered, possibly far more, over 200 villages erased, and still no one stops him. If you are still listening, take a moment. Stories like this survive only when people choose to hear them. Liking this video tells the algorithm that history still matters, and subscribing ensures these stories are not erased again. Now comes Warsaw. What happens next will become one of the largest massacres in European history. In August 1944, the Polish Home Army rises, and Warsaw explodes into rebellion. Himmler's order is simple: destroy the city, kill everyone. Dirlewanger arrives on August 4th and is assigned to the Wola district. On August 5th, Black Saturday, his men do not fight insurgents, they slaughter civilians. Families are dragged from homes and shot in courtyards, apartment buildings burned with people inside, hospitals stormed, patients bayoneted in their beds, doctors executed, nurses raped and murdered, children impaled on bayonets, music played during executions. By nightfall, 12,500 people are dead, and within days the toll reaches tens of thousands. Dirlewanger is rewarded with the Knight's Cross. By 1945, even Himmler can no longer hide him. Dirlewanger is sent to the front, his division is destroyed, and he is wounded again. As his men die, he disappears, discards his uniform, acquires false papers, and hides as a civilian until a former prisoner recognizes his face. June 1945, Alshausen. The cell is small, the bunk is hard, and the guards are Polish. What happens inside that cell is never officially recorded, but the screams are remembered. The death certificate lies. Dirlewanger dies violently and is buried in an unmarked grave that later disappears. Dirlewanger was not protected because he was effective, he was protected because he was useful. The lesson is not about one man but about systems that shield brutality. Evil does not flourish only through monsters. It flourishes when institutions protect them. If this story stayed with you, share it, because memory is the only grave some victims will ever have.